What if I combined all of my favorite shades into one perfect palette? I've made almost all the shades in my palettes removable, so why not? Hi, welcome to the Art Hub. Today I am going to pick my favorite shade from each palette that I have to create one custom palette that has all the shades that I like the most. Interested? Let's dive in. I thought of starting with Blend Bunny to set a tone or color range, but now I think it will be better if I use it at the end. So, if I'm lacking some shades, I can grab it from this palette. I've been playing with it for just a week, so out of all shades, I can't make my top pick. ABH Modern Renaissance. This is my Project Pan palette. I think that this is the only palette that I know all the ins and outs. I've been using it for more than a year, so I definitely know which one is my favorite shade. That's definitely a warm taupe. My perfect shade for crease. ABH Soft Glam. Before, I was leaning toward the pinky satin here, but recently I've been going for glistening. It is great for all over the eye, especially if you have textured lids. BH Blueberry Muffin. I love this palette, so versatile and underrated. You might think that I'm going for blues. Yeah, not as often as for these two shades, Sugared and Cravings. This one is a closed dupe to a Galaxia Crystal shade from Natasha Denona Mini Retro, if you layer it with Sweet. I can't pick between these two shades, so I'll take both of them. BH Lost in Los Angeles. One of the greatest pastel palettes on the budget. These pastels work great to blend other shades. I love this blue, but not as much as this pink, which has a great shade and hue that doesn't make me look sick. BH Nomad. This palette doesn't have good BH formula. So this is the star shade of the palette for me. I think it doesn't have a name, but it is a green to purple multichrome. ColourPop The Mandalorian. The satin shades here are like butter. Your eyes are instantly drawn to Clan of Two. Despite that, it's Imperial Credit that captures my heart. I love putting it all over the lid. That taupe from ColourPop is my almost perfect nude. I always pull it out for Slated, the Super Shock shade. Cosmic Brush's quality is amazing for the price you pay. One of my most reached palettes. Easy, perfect, everyday mauve looks is what I usually get each time I use it. But contrary to what you might assume, I often bypass these shades in favor of Softly. It has a plastic cover because once while pulling it out, I accidentally dropped it and shattered and didn't have time to repress it. This is a great inner corner highlight. e.l.f. The New Classics. Some shades are great, like rose gold, but some are extremely lackluster, like platinum. It doesn't have the consistent quality all over the palette, so I reach for it quite rarely, and when I do, I usually use this shade. But it is definitely not as often as other palettes, maybe once in 2-3 months. Huda, the Amethyst Obsession. Even though this palette is long discontinued, I always grab it to use these two shades. This one is a perfect inner corner highlight, while this one is my go-to sparkly addition. Nomad's Paradise Island is also a newer palette in my vanity. And I haven't used it a lot, but this iridescent topper is a standout for me in this palette. Though there is another one, very similar one, the Dolphin, but I prefer the one with the pinkish undertones. Pat McGrath I Ecstasy Sublime is a companion traveling palette to my ABH Modern Renaissance. Most would bet on picking Corruption as the best shade since it is a multichrome, but it creases on me horribly, so instead I always lean towards Sinful. Pat McGrath Artistry palette has the best color mattes in my collection so far. And of course, the best dark brown. Pat McGrath Mothership 3 Subversive. Unfortunately, I didn't depot special shades in this palette because they are not in the metallic pen. During the production process, usually they are poured over a plastic mesh that is at the bottom. So, unless I have the pen of the correct size, I'm not planning to depot them. Otherwise, I would pick this one or this. But under current circumstances, I know I might sound boring to you, I will take deep shade. This is my perfect brown smoky eye shade. I even scraped a little bit of it to put into my project pen eyeshadow so I can use other shades faster. My singles, my star palette. I have here Clionadh, Nomad, and Colourpop. And obvious choice, of course, would be one of Clionadh's shades. But please, don't get me wrong, I love these. I plan to stock up on them a lot. But I reach for this palette to get Glass Bull, my perfect spring shade. It looks so smooth on my lids, giving enough zhuzh to make people wonder what's on my eyes. Now let me rearrange this palette to have a little bit more coherent color story. I didn't plan for it to look so spring appropriate. Now blend Bunny to the rescue. I think I need to add something to darken the green and blue shades. Maybe this one? I feel like it's still missing something. Maybe this one. Or maybe should I get some contrast? Or some pop of color. Okay, so far, let's leave it as it is. Maybe while using it, I might figure out what it is lacking. Maybe you have some thought that you would like to share. Which shade this palette might be lacking? I had so much fun going through my eyeshadow collection, picking my favorite shades and getting everything together. This palette definitely has a great everyday use and very spring color story. I definitely should come up with a name for it. Actually, it's very hard to come up with the names. For me, this part looks like some flowers, especially flower petals. This is the stem, and these are the leaves of this flower. So I definitely think that the name should include something related to flower. And the colors are very muted, not the bright colors you would see in flowers during the daylight, but something more like night flower. So eventually, I came up with the name Moonlit Petals. I know, it might sound a little bit cheesy, but I actually enjoy it. I'm going to use this palette for a week and let you know how it goes. By the way, if you have any suggestions of what should I put here or what color should I add, please let me know in the comment section below. I would die to know. Thank you so much for spending your time with me today. See you next time. Bye!